out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Let's go to our video link. If you're watching the stream at the YouTube channel, let's bring in Dave and Luke. First off, hey, Luke in a t-shirt. I haven't seen Luke in a t-shirt for a long time. We had Mike McCullough on, Luke. He really liked your comments yesterday. We played for him, but he said he was non-athletic. Of course, he was super self-deprecating. Non-athletic, and what Luke said was some of it was false, but it was nice and kind.
What do you mean?
For me. He just said he wasn't that good. You know how he is.
Wow, that's completely different than when I talk to him, because when I talk to him, he's the greatest player that ever donned a uniform.
Kid, I don't want to get in trouble with him. I need his kid to play on my flag team. Sharky's got a question for the fellas.
So, guys, you've been there all week. You look like you're doing the job. You're going to the practices. You're getting the interviews. Okay, I want to know where the best food is, where's the best party, and what bands are playing tonight. Like, give me the lowdown. What's going on?
Well, tonight it's actually the CFL Awards, so that's where we're going to be. So there'll be bands and whatnot after that. Ryderville and the Atlantic Schooner Zone and all that fun stuff starts going. The Fan Fest will officially open as of tomorrow. It didn't open today. It was open to actually school kids, and that Fan Fest is where you can go run a 40 or whatever you want to do. I don't know if that's a lot of fun for you and I, but you can go do that if you want.
My 40 days are done.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I think that you know what, we also were at the Farhan and Dave Naylor media party yesterday.
Nice.
After the show. That was really cool. And you know, obviously in those things you always talk about the hot button issues with the Canadian Football League. I thought it was really interesting. Most of the talk centered around Mike O'Shea and scenarios in which he stays in Winnipeg, and then you know, if that happens, who gets the Toronto job, or if Mike O'Shea would go to Toronto, who would get the Winnipeg job. It was really interesting because again, you traditionally a lot of business gets done at the Grey Cup, right? So for instance, my buddy Rob Fry, he's in here. He's in here talking to obviously the guys that he represents and about the guys he represents, but more importantly, you know, after the business gets done, he flies out, right? Doesn't even stick around for the game. So it's nice to see. You know, yesterday I was telling Dave, this is kind of where the week kicks off. Monday, Tuesday is kind of slow. Wednesday, you kind of have that kickoff where everybody starts gathering, and then Thursday, Friday, you know, things like the events get going and Ryderville gets going, so it'll be good.
And last night, too, had an opportunity to catch up with the commissioner, and it was interesting because we had a one-on-one conversation. At first, it was kind of awkward because I thought he wanted to talk to me because, you know, he was coming over. Turns out I was just standing in the aisle on the way to the bathroom. But then when he came back, actually, we talked a little bit about the rule changes and the changes that are coming in. And you know what? He is very, very passionate and very, very committed to making it working, and he is challenging the rest of the league to make it work, and I think it's pretty cool. And again, had a great conversation with him after he washed his hands.
We'll come back to the rule changes. On the O'Shea, Toronto, not Winnipeg, not Toronto deal, what was the consensus? What came out of that? What does everybody think is going to happen? Who's going to drop where?
Oh, wow. Actually, so it was funny because nobody really had an inclination. There was, you know, half the room says it's a done deal, half the room says there's no way, right? Again, you guys know where I stand on this. I think O'Shea would be crazy to leave Winnipeg after, you know, building and being a big part of the culture build there that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have now. And it's evident. I mean, the Grey Cup so far has been run really well. There's a ton of volunteers that are really great, friendly folks. You know, so again, it just going to a dumpster fire like the Toronto organization for just after being here. The problem is I don't think that the Argonauts want to build the type of culture that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have built, right? They just want to, feels like they're interested in other things, and sometimes, you know, letting Dinwiddie walk doesn't look like they're interested in winning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, it's not a great look. No,
I found that it was like newsworthy that he was getting on a plane and going to Toronto. And I was like, yeah, what do you think, he's going to Zoom? No, you're going to go and you're going to do the flyby and the meet and greet and all that. Okay, the question I've been sitting on here for the last 5 minutes, what did Farhan have for a spread?
Ooh,
Oh wow,
barbecue.
Yeah, it was a really good barbecue spot. What was the place called again? But me and Dave and my buddy, we had already eaten because I said
Veteran mood, you said.
Yeah, veteran move, right? So we had already eaten, but they had some great barbecue brisket going. I caved towards the end of the evening and had a piece of the pecan and pie and whipped cream. That was
nice.
really good.
Nice.
Yeah, boys. It was a good spot. It was a ways off the beaten path, but it was awesome.
Yeah, pecan pie.
Oh,
now
Farhan and them know how to throw a party, but they also gave a lot of props to Wade for essentially organizing the whole thing prior to them even making a phone call, right? So again, culture. Right?
Wade Miller.
Wade Miller. Sorry, I was calling him by his name. Yeah, sorry.
There's going to be a lot of people that want to know anything that you've noticed injury-wise. Anybody running around, anybody doing anything out of the ordinary?
Well, I was appropriately called out on social media today because here's the deal. It's the receiving core that we're watching closely with the Saskatchewan Roughriders to find out what they're going to do. Joe was back, full participant in practice. Joe Robustelli, I didn't think he was going to go just in the conversation that I kind of had with him, but he is fine. He was out there. He was running around, looked great. I also thought that Keyshawn Johnson was going to go, but Keyshawn was more of a spectator today and kind of took a day for treatment. So, again, in the conversations that I had, I was told or made to understand, or maybe my own personal belief was that Robustelli wouldn't go and that Keyshawn Johnson would, but it was the other way around. Keyshawn Johnson didn't go and Joe Robustelli did. So that's the biggest thing that you can see right now with the Rough Riders. Joe, Robustelli, and Keyshawn Johnson. The defense remains intact without Shane Ray. Shane Ray probably will not play in this Grey Cup game, as again, he's been in civvies for the last month and a bit now. So I doubt that Shane Ray will be able to go, but everybody else seems to be all systems go.
There you go.
You had brought up earlier the conversation you had with the commissioner and the rule changes and his excitement or his passion for bringing forward those changes. Is there one in particular that he highlighted that this has really got to happen to change the game for the Canadian fans?
When I talked to him, no, he didn't highlight one. He just was enthusiastic about the change because, again, you hear the negative speak when it comes to that, and there's been a lot of it, right? But you don't always hear the positive speak, the positive spin, the people that are saying, okay, let's give this a try and let's see what it looks like. Because if it doesn't look like anything good, you can always change it back, right? I would highly doubt that would happen, but just the commissioner is very much in belief that these changes are for the betterment of the game. He doesn't want to Americanize it. He isn't bringing in NFL 2.0, any of that. Fear that there is not going to happen. I think that the innovations he's hoping will create more excitement around the game. And again, he's very excited about it and committed to it.
I know, Dave, and we're going to run it hopefully at some point today, if not tomorrow. You got a nice sit down with Jeremy O'Day, and to both of you, maybe first to Luke. You've been around this guy a long time, Jeremy O'Day. You know what he puts up with in the province with the passionate fan base. People are always calling for his heads. Him, Reynolds, down the line the last few years. Is there a sense of relief when you talk to him? I know the job's not done. They're just there. They still haven't won it. But for what this guy has to put up with, do you guys feel that there's a little sense of relief and the project is working?
I haven't talked to Jo all week.
Okay, Dave, to you then.
But there's a reason why. The reason why is I think that for all of the moves that and the Jo spent the better part of 20 years in this organization, right? He's going to be a Hall of Famer because of that. But more importantly, I think that he really had to fight to get to the point where it was his show, right? I mean, with Chris Jones, with Brendan Taman, it took a while for Jo to really just get the reins to himself, and he had some ups and downs with the coaching staff that he had here. Obviously, that changed with Coach Mace. And now you find yourself in the Grey Cup. And one of the things that's synonymous with JO around the people that are talking in the Grey Cup week. I've heard it a couple times now. Heard it last night. Heard it today. Heard it the day before. I mean, he's the hardest working GM in the league, right? So I think that, is there a relief? No, because I think that he's probably grinding it out and not even thinking about, oh man, we've arrived. Like, what have you arrived at, right? There's nothing really to arrive at yet, and even when I think that, if the Riders were to win, I think that he would take some time and then he would get right back to the process, so it's
Great words. Dave, how about you just let us play the interview, if that's okay?
Absolutely. Hear it for yourself. And the two words I'll just quickly interject are pride but not satisfied. And that's in a conversation I had with Craig Reynolds and this one with Jeremy O'Day. Jeremy, the question I've been getting all week is, what's the atmosphere around Winnipeg like? You've been around this before. What's it been like?
Well, obviously different than our normal trips here. We're staying at a different hotel, and obviously there's a lot more people around early in the week here, and again, we're here early, so feels different than a normal trip to Winnipeg, but it also, it feels like Grey Cup. There's a slow burn that's happening, some buzz that's being created. There's excitement coming from the players, but it's good. We haven't, today's the first day that we get in the practice field, so I think today will be a big eye opener when we get to the practice field and we're in another stadium for our day one practice. But it's exciting. Really just trying to get everyone settled into the hotel and help the players get their families' travel worked out, making sure we have enough tickets for everyone, all those types of things that you got to deal with.
Luke said to me, he goes, Dave, you don't realize until you're here how much of the routine you rely on. He said something as simple as what you're going to eat for supper changes. How do you help assimilate your team with those changes?
Yeah, everything's different. So every day of the week, day one during the regular season was the same routine. You'd walk in, you'd have breakfast. You know where the coffee was. You know where to go get taped. You knew where the bathrooms were on the floor of the meeting rooms. And so when you first get started, everything's brand new, right? So the players have to, they're getting their own food. Where do you eat? So what we do is we just try to alleviate as many of the questions that they have as possible. So you really just put yourself in their shoes of what they would be looking for, making sure that, simple things like coffee are available, providing them with a list of places that they can order food from, whether it be in the hotel, whether it be local restaurants. We bring Dan Farling involved with that, with trying to create some healthy choices for the guys to eat at. But everything's just changed. You're living out of a hotel. Most of the guys have a roommate, so you got a roommate that you're with that you're normally not with, and so it's just a little bit of adjustment. But usually after day one or day two, you're focused in and you figured everything out.
Well, this week may be about change. Your roster is all about staying the same and continuity. What about last year's group made it important to you to keep this group together moving forward to this year and seeing what they've been able to accomplish?
We made the decision after last year. We wanted to bring a lot of our guys back, as many as we could, add a few additions that we did in the off season. But we just felt like we had some momentum going. Last year, Corey's first year as a head coach, Mark's first year as a coordinator, Corey's first time calling it for our team. So we felt like that year was very valuable for us going into this year, so they could have some. They'd understand the schemes, they'd understand what to expect, and we just really felt like we had some momentum coming out of last year, even though it didn't end the way we liked it.
I don't want to mention how long you've been in Riderville because I know we get into that, but having said that, it is a big thing for the province of Saskatchewan, and even your players acknowledge not only to what it means to the Saskatchewan people, but the Saskatchewan-born players on your roster, right?
Yeah, I think anytime you go to a Grey Cup, naturally you start to think about the players that were from the province that you're in, and you can actually see it all in all their eyes after the game, what it means when they know that they're going to the Grey Cup, and what it means from their perspective, their family's perspective. For us, we've always said it as long as I've been here that the fans deserve more championships. They deserve more Grey Cups because they've supported us so well for so long, and that's our way of giving back. And feel like that this is a great opportunity for us to do that.
Lastly, then, for me, what does this team need to do what you've done? Hoist a trophy at the end of the week.
First of all, have a great week of practice. Try to minimize as many distractions as you can, and then just focus in the now. I think our team's done a great job the whole year of just focusing on being 1-0, understanding the task that's at hand, not putting too much pressure on yourself, and just realizing once you get out there, it's just like any other football game. So, but it starts with the preparation.
We're down to the last hit
He's not watching
of the
radio?
day. You guys probably like the hats. Hey, nice, sharp SportsCage hat. Dave, turn his mic on. He's chirping.
I did.
Yeah, those are sweet. I would take one of those.
Yeah,
I would
Okay.
take one of those. Those are sweet.
Like it.
All right.
I got a question.
Sure.
Everybody has talked today that we've talked to, whether it's Rash, Suter, or whatever, about the Rider defense stopping Davis Alexander. What does that look like if he's hurt? Let's talk about the Rider offense. What do they bring to the table that Montreal's got to rise to the occasion to? What is Montreal going to have to do to slow the Riders down?
Well, obviously they're going to have to stop the run. Here's the thing. Okay, so I said this last night too. Mm-hmm. There's far too many people talking about this game as if it's the Montreal Alouettes that need to do all the big stuff just to be able to compete in this game. I think these teams are really evenly matched, and I think one of the pieces where the game gets the most interesting is actually Montreal's defense versus our offense, because I think if there's two defenses in the league that are built to stop the Saskatchewan Roughriders, it was Calgary and Montreal. I think Montreal has the ability to pressure up the middle, which for us is when the defensive ends rush around, Trevor Harris steps up and is able to slice you. Right? He's able to kill you. And it's because you're still able to, the way the play's drawn up, right? The launch point is from the pocket, right? And that is where Trevor Harris kills you, when he's able to make throws from the pocket, right, in the second and manageable downs. But Montreal is one of the teams that are going to come straight up the middle. And that's where the problems for us start, because that way, then Trevor Harris has to go to the outsides. And now you're adjusting the launch point. You're also losing you're losing the connection with your offensive line, because now they don't know where you've gone. And I would caution against saying, what does Montreal Alouettes defense have to do to stop the Riders? I think they're built to stop the Riders, and that's what makes this game awesome. I think that they've got a great secondary. Their linebackers are tough. We talk about Sankey, but that Beverett kid, he's just an animal. He can play anywhere on the field. He's like our CJ Rivas, and he's like Antoine Brooks. And their defensive line is a massive strength. So go ahead.
Sorry, I want to ask, do you see them playing a lot of man?
I see them mixing it up a lot. I see them going from man to zone, zone to man. I see them bringing guys up on the line of scrimmage. I see them blitzing from depth, meaning, letting the snap count go. I think that the Montreal Alouettes are going to mix things up. Noel Thorup, again, he's one of the best defensive coordinators in this league, and that's where I'm really excited to see this game play out is Montreal's defense versus Saskatchewan's Roughriders offense. They're going to want to stop AJ Ouellette, obviously, right? But again, the ability to play strong in the interior out is something that the Montreal Alouettes can look favorably upon.
Yeah, and I think the one thing to add on to that, Luke, if I may, is that Travion Tate is back in the lineup at guard. This will be the first time the Montreal Alouettes see him there, which is really, in my mind, shored up that left side of the offensive line for the Riders.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Luke. Sorry, I know we got a little bit of a delay here.
No, I was just saying, yeah, Travion Tate, it was a great addition. Thought he played okay when he got his first reps in 14 weeks last week. So, again, if you're Travion Tate, you just want to keep building.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Absolutely.
Who is the underdog? And I'll pose this to you, Barney, Sharky, and Luke. Who is the underdog in this football game? Because I clearly don't know. On SportsCage.com, you can go ahead and have your say with a vote. Right now, 60% of people say that Montreal are the underdogs in this football game. Who do you think?
I usually lean on the smartest people, and those are the odds makers. So when the odds makers say a team is an underdog for a certain reason, when they dissect it, I usually go with them. When it comes to me in my head, and if I'm playing this in a video game or these are two flag football teams, it's a toss-up. Like it could be one of the another epic Saskatchewan Montreal matchups. I don't agree with the 4 points. I'd go probably to 2.5.
I also think it's a toss-up. I think the only reason the Montreal Alouettes would be considered an underdog is because of the questions around whether Davis Alexander makes it through the whole game. That's the only reason I think they're underdogs. Otherwise, and to be honest with you, I think that McLeod Bethel Thompson. I mean, he hasn't played in a while. He could end up being an X factor, right? It's not as if they fall off a cliff if McLeod Bethel Thompson comes in. It's just they have to get a little bit more pressure on him and force him into mistakes, because you can force him into mistakes. But I mean, he's good on the deep ball. That's Montreal wants to hit the deep ball as well, right? So again, this is one of those leagues we talk about it all the time, right, boys? We say you need 2 starting quality quarterbacks in this league to compete for Grey Cups, and both teams in this matchup have 2 starting quality quarterbacks in their depth, the starter and the backup. They're both starting quality guys.
I have Montreal as a slight underdog, but I do think the Riders will come out ahead and by more than 2 at the end. I think they've got a little more swagger to them, a little more presence. And I do think Davis Alexander and McLeod Bethel Thompson are both going to play, and that's going to dictate the change in the game.
Okay, we got about 2 minutes and 50 seconds here. So quickly, Dave, we can't take a lot from that last meeting. No Tavon Campbell in the lineup, McLeod Bethel Thompson, 379 yards. When we go back to that, there isn't a lot that we can take from that game, or is there something that you saw?
No, there's definite disappointment and desire for retribution. I talked to Micah Johnson about that yesterday. I said, what do you take from that? He goes, absolutely nothing. We didn't have our full lineup in. We do now. He goes, it's a motivating factor the way that outcome came. So that's what you take, is that the Riders are looking for retribution.
Luke, for you getting into we're going to talk tomorrow as well, but Thursday to Friday, is this where guys are going to be more locked in starting tonight, or is this kind of the last night if the guys want to go check some stuff out? Mike McCullough talked about his first ever Grey Cup. He got food poisoning on the Monday, knock on wood. Crazy. What are guys doing tonight for I know there's the awards ceremony.
Yeah, the award ceremonies, and typically the day 3 is where the guys will probably have an opportunity to get explore. Out and explore. Yeah, if there's any night, I think that when we were playing in these Grey Cups, that we used day 3 as sort of the night to get out and about. One of the challenges, I think, for the fella, I'm not sure how many people are going to the award ceremony for the Riders, right, whether they're sending the team. I remember when Kerry Joseph was up for Most Outstanding Player, our whole team went. We all went, and man, we were sitting there, we were cheering for him. And when they announced Kerry as the Most Outstanding Player, man, the whole team that was there, we just absolutely blew up, man. And so I'm not sure how many folks are going there, because obviously Yoshi's up for an award. Who else is up for an award, Dave?
Coach Mace, but they're not going to hand that one out tonight. So
yeah, I think Coach Mace is the clear-cut favorite for that award as well. But again, I think that tonight is the night where you go out and you explore.
Can you explain this?
50 seconds.
Yeah. Can you explain this coaching award and when they're doing it and why and what came about because of that? Like, how do we get that moved back 3 months?
Well, what I was told was that it's the player awards tonight, celebrating players' achievements. I think it's a natural to have the coach of the year, but that's just my personal opinion. It'll be handed out at the CFL Combine in the spring in Edmonton.
Oh, I have the same opinion.
Coach of the year?
Yeah.
Coach of the year, yeah.
Should be given out tonight with the rest of them.
Weird.
Yeah,
Way to
what the
go.
hell? That is weird.
Weird.
It is.
Well,
award
especially
award
if
for
it's- you know what,
weirdness of the
especially
year.
if it's- Well, especially if it's Moss versus Mace, just give it to
Yeah.
the winning team's coach. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, you're already going to present a most outstanding Canadian player on
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah.
So and an MVP. Give the coach of the year an award when at the end of that game.
Yeah.
Dang.
I got money on Jamarcus tonight.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
safe. That's safe
money.
That's safe action
Safe
there.
money.
All right, boys. Stay safe tonight. Have fun. We need a Riderville recap tomorrow. I want to know. Yell out if there's a band playing covers. Yell stuff out. Be crazy. Matchbox 20. Roxette.
We'll be there, right?
Lionel Richie.
We'll be at Riderville tomorrow.
we'll
That
be
is
at
the plan.
Riderville
We will
tomorrow.
be with you
Tomorrow.
at Riderville.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
I was hoping for tonight.
Yeah, no.
Oh, you're gonna be broadcasting there tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll scout it out tonight, Barney. Don't
Yeah.
worry. We'll figure
Yeah.
something out, buddy.
Study the film.
Hey, an old-fashioned flyby. I like it. Veteran move, boys. All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks, fellas.
See you guys.